Paraphrasing and summarizing. What is paraphrasing? That of course is the basic question. So when you paraphrase, you use your own words to express something that was written or said by some other person. Okay, so you have to use your own wording in order to paraphrase. So how do you paraphrase the text? The first step is you read and make notes. Okay, no, over here you should recall the SQ3R strategy. Um, when you take notes, you have to take notes in an effective manner. We also learned along with SQ3R strategy, the note-taking skill as a separate lesson. Okay, so note-taking is a step towards paraphrasing a text. Okay, so in order to paraphrase a text, you first need to read it. And when you read it, you need to read according to SQ3R strategy. Also, when you read, you must take notes of whatever you read. And take notes the way we have learned, all right? The second step is find different terms in paraphrasing. So when you read a text, a research article maybe, a newspaper article maybe, try to spot those terms or words or those vocabulary items which are a little more complex, which are less known, which are technical. Okay, underline them, highlight them. Why? Because when you are going to paraphrase, you are not going to use those difficult words, unfamiliar words, or technical words in the paraphrasing. Why? Because the paraphrase is meant to simplify the original text. All right. Therefore, you should spotlight those words or terms which are new, which are relatively unknown, so that when you write the paraphrase, you should use simpler words for those technical words. And then the third step is put the text into your own words. So you have read a given text. You have read a given text. You have taken the notes in the margins. And then you have spotted the unknown, unfamiliar, new technical terms and found out their meanings. When you are done with these two first steps, now is the time to put the text in your own words. Okay, so for example, 10-line paragraph, you read it, you took the notes, you spotted the unfamiliar terms, and then you found out the meanings of those terms. All right, now is the time to start writing the whole paragraph of 10 lines into a new paragraph in such a manner that you should write this new paragraph in your own words, one thing, and second thing, you should try to stay as close to the original meaning of the text as it is possible. Okay, so when you write your paraphrase, do not write something altogether new and different from the original text. Okay, so you should not lose the meaning of the original text. Maintain the original meaning of the original text, stick to the meaning of the original text. Still use your own simpler common words. And then you need to reread your paraphrase to make sure there is no editing mistake in what you wrote. So this is how we paraphrase a given text. What should be the length of the paraphrase of the original text? The paraphrase of the original text can be as long as the original text is. It can be a little less or a little more as well. Okay, but as I said, just a little less or just a little more. Okay, ideally the length of paraphrase should be similar to the length of the original text. All right. Now we move to an example of paraphrasing. Okay, so here is the original. You can see it. I'm reading it loud. Uh, you, and of course, you can read along with me on your own. Uh, so start. This is the original paragraph, which we are supposed to paraphrase. So starts from here. Despite the undoubted fact that everyone's vision of what constitutes success is different, one should spend one's time establishing and finalizing one's personal vision of it. Otherwise, how can you possibly understand what your final destination might be, or whether or not your decisions are assisting you in moving in the direction of the goals which you have set yourself? The two kinds of statement, mission and vision, can be invaluable to your approach, aiding you as they do in focusing on your primary goal and quickly identifying possibilities that you might wish to exploit and explore. So this is the original paragraph. A few characteristics of this paragraph you might have noticed. Number one, the sentences in this paragraph are pretty long, okay? And then you also might have noticed that the expression of the writer is a little more complex. So when you write your paraphrase, um, there would be certain differences from the original text. Let's have a look at the paraphrase of this text. So here is the paraphrase. Let's read it. We all have different ideas about success. Okay, look at the very first sentence. Did you notice an immediate difference between this sentence and the first sentence in the original text? One obvious difference between both of these sentences is that the first sentence in the previous paragraph was at least 3 lines lengthy, while this sentence in this paragraph is just half the line lengthy. So look at the length of the sentence. Okay. So what does that tell us? That tells us that when you write paraphrase of a text, you should use simpler sentences, and let me also add shorter sentences. Okay. So when we say a simple sentence, in fact, by that we mean we should use small, shorter sentences. Okay, let's proceed to read the paraphrase. What is important is that you spend time defining your version of success. That way, you will understand what you should be working toward. You will also know if your decisions are helping you to move toward your goals. Used as part of your personal approach to goal setting, mission and vision statements are useful for bringing sharp focus to your most important goal, and for helping you to quickly identify which opportunities you should pursue. Okay, we could use smaller sentences over here as well. Okay, it's possible for us to put a period over here and then continue a new sentence. That we could say over here that mission and vision statement can help you to quickly identify which opportunities you should pursue. All right. So mission and vision statement can help you to quickly identify which opportunities you should pursue. Okay, so this is an example of original paragraph which has been paraphrased into simpler English. All right. Now moving to the second component, it is interrelated. Okay, summarizing is interrelated. It is interconnected with paraphrasing. Okay, so what is summarizing? A summary is a brief overview of an entire discussion or argument. You might summarize a whole research paper or conversation in a single paragraph, for example, or with a series of bullet points using your own words and style. Okay, so one immediate difference from paraphrasing is that summary is a brief overview of an entire discussion. Paraphrase is not brief. Paraphrase could be as lengthy as the original text is, but summary is a briefer document. Okay, so you can summarize a whole research paper into just one paragraph. Okay, depending upon what you are asked to do by your instructor or by anybody to whom you have to submit a summary. Again, in the summary, you use your own words and style, right? So how to summarize a text? First step is get a general idea of the original. Okay, main idea. In other words, try to understand what is the main idea of the text you are asked to summarize. And then check your understanding. You need to assure yourself you know what the content of this article is. It is a kind of self-reflection. It is a kind of self-reflection. You reflect on your own to tell yourself, maybe loud, maybe quietly, well, what is the content of the article that you just read? If you realize you did not get anything out of it, give it a second reading, okay, or maybe a third reading, and then make notes. In this case, probably you are not uh, writing notes in the margin as such, but still you need notes. Okay, so when you are checking your understanding, one good idea can be that you can write down the notes of what you just read. What was the first point here? What was the second point? What was the third point? What was the introduction? What was the conclusion? Are there any definitions given? Are there any examples given? Okay, so take notes of what you just read. And then put those notes together in the form of a summary. Okay, remember, when you read a 10 pages article, you cannot remember at the time of writing summary what was in the article if you did not write notes. Okay, so you must have your notes in place before to start writing your summary. You are only going to consult your notes at the stage of writing your summary. You are not going to consult the original article once again. All right, so take very effective notes and then develop those notes into a small summary. Finally, check your work. Here is an example of summarizing. So this is the original article, original paragraph. Let's read it together. You can see it on your slide. I will read it loud for you. So how do you go about identifying your strengths and weaknesses and analyzing the opportunities and threats that flow from them? SWOT analysis is a useful technique that helps you to do this. What makes SWOT especially powerful is that with a little thought, it can help you to uncover opportunities that you would not otherwise have spotted. And by understanding your weaknesses, you can manage and eliminate threats that might otherwise hurt your ability to move forward in your role. If you look at yourself using the SWOT framework, you can start to separate yourself from your peers and further develop the specialized talents and abilities that you need in order to advance your career and to help you achieve your personal goals. Here is the summary of that original text. So I'm sure the first thing that you noticed between the summary and the original text is the length of the summary. Okay, it is almost 1/3 of the original. Let's read it. SWOT analysis is a technique that helps you identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Understanding and managing these factors helps you to develop the abilities you need to achieve your goals and progress in your career. Okay, so take care of the fact that when you write the summary of the original text, try to keep the original main idea of the text. Also, use your own expression throughout. Okay, last thing about paraphrasing and summarizing together. It is called permission and citations. Okay, so when you paraphrase a text, remember you are using in your paraphrase the ideas which have been written by somebody else in that original text. Okay, in other words, the paraphrase that you wrote is still not your intellectual product. Rather, it is intellectual product of the person who wrote the original article. Similarly, when you summarize a research paper into your own words, the summary of the research paper is not your intellectual product. Rather, it is intellectual product of the person who wrote the original research paper. Therefore, if you plan to use that summary or that paraphrase into your own essay that you're writing, then you must provide citation. In other words, you must acknowledge the original author and the original source from where you either took the paraphrase or you took the summary. In some cases, if you want to publish your essay, you might have to seek the permission of the original author from whom you took a summary and then you use that summary in the essay that you want to publish. Okay, at your stage in undergrad, you won't need that. You won't need permission, much of it, but you will need citation over and over again. All right, so you must cite the original source. So you are right, you read an article, you wrote it summary, and now you want to use that summary in an essay that you are writing. You must tell which article you summarized and who wrote that article. This is the end of today's presentation on summarizing and paraphrasing.